Hey, it's Miles from Tactical Hyve. I've been wanting to train with Mike Pannone for quite some time now, and a few months ago I had the opportunity to take his hybrid pistol class. If you're unfamiliar with who Mike is, he's a former Green Beret, he is a former US Marine Recon member, and he's a former member of Delta. He's also a ranked USPSA shooter, holding a master class ranking in production, limited, and limited 10 divisions. He's also owner of CTT Solutions. His hybrid pistol class is divided into 2 days. The first day focuses on his advanced handgun class, and the second day revolves around his covert carry class. Mike's class places a heavy emphasis on drilling, so if you're looking to get in a lot of repetitions, this is a great class for you. But be prepared, you're going to be shooting a lot over the course of 2 days. Let's take a closer look.
Mike runs a safe, professional, and organized class. It's clear that he has a lot of experience and has been teaching for a long time. He covers a lot of simple, albeit important, details that other instructors do not. The type of details that come only from being in the game for a long time. For his class, at a minimum, students had to bring a pistol, magazines, a range belt, an outside the waistband holster, and an inside the waistband holster for day 2, which focused on concealed carry, ammo, and eye and ear protection. Unlike other pistol classes I've attended, Mike required each student to bring 1,500 rounds of ammo. As I mentioned earlier, his class incorporates a ton of shooting.
Man, that's a lot of shooting. Heck yeah.
His hybrid pistol class is definitely not a typical marksmanship class, where the amount of instruction outweighs the amount of shooting. The class seems geared towards those with experience who want to put rounds downrange while learning how to polish their technique along the way. Because of this, I think this class is best suited for intermediate to advanced shooters who are ready to put in the work. Speaking of experienced shooters, given Mike's pedigree, I wasn't surprised to meet some really cool and accomplished shooters in his class, such as competition shooter Emily Chen and protection specialist Byron Rogers. We started day 1 with a safety brief, then dove right into a couple of basic drills on paper to warm up so Mike could assess each shooter's skill level. Then we moved on to cover various fundamentals of pistol marksmanship: stance, gross body alignment, grip, sight alignment and sight picture, trigger press, and scanning and assessing. Mike didn't spend hours on the fundamentals. In contrast, he spent a total of about 20 minutes covering the fundamentals so that he could talk about his take on things. I liked how Mike wasn't preoccupied with how students did things as long as they could get the job done and weren't doing anything grossly incorrect. It was great to hear him talk about natural point of aim, or gross body alignment as Mike likes to refer to it. Not many instructors I've trained with dive into this topic. I liked how he talked about being target focused, front sight focused, or somewhere in between. Also because many instructors do not cover this topic as well. We moved on to talk about reloads and the process Mike recommends. Mike talked about the different ways to approach a slide lock reload and how one should use the technique appropriate for the task. I liked how he taught that students should avoid bringing the pistol too close to their face and to be mindful about pointing the muzzle straight up, which can make it difficult to release some magazines, for example, like Glock magazines.
So if I grab something out of my pocket and look at it, I grab something off a shelf and look at it, look where my hands are. They're the same place you would read a book, okay? Your body already knows where to go to reload a pistol. Just let it do that, okay? Stop trying to overcomplicate the process.
He recommends one should point their empty mag well to the incoming magazine pouch, assuming you're carrying a magazine pouch on your support side hip. After, we jumped right into shooting, with Mike sharing bits of instruction while we drilled. As I mentioned earlier, this class involves a lot of shooting and weapons manipulation. Often, students feel that there must be a sexy, secret technique or method to getting better, but the truth is it takes disciplined practice, and this is where Mike's class shines. You get the opportunity to do hundreds of repetitions under the watchful eye of a very experienced instructor.
It should drop out. Pointing the gun in should drop out. Shaking is adding motion in that you don't necessarily need, okay? Because you're not operating the magazine release button as effectively as you can. Right? So if you get rid of the shake and you just actually turn the gun, the mags will drop out. Right?
We started with a reactive partner drill, which Mike calls the coyote and rabbit drill. This was a partner drill where one student played the role of the rabbit and the other the coyote. The rabbit chooses a starting position and a course of fire and relays this to their partner. The students position themselves beside each other and the rabbit starts the drill. Once the coyote sees the rabbit move, he or she starts their course of fire. The rabbit tries to finish the course of fire first while the coyote's goal is to beat the rabbit. This was a fun drill and forced people to react off of visual stimuli instead of an audible beat from a timer. The next drill we did was the unknown gun drill. This was another partner drill where a student has the opportunity to set up their partner's gun any way they want and call the course of fire. The gun is placed back into their partner's holster, and on the go signal, the shooter has to carry out the course of fire, dealing with any malfunctions or reloads they encounter along the way. Mike then moved on to a block of instruction on one-handed shooting. He covered strong and support hand drawing, shooting, and hand transfers. He also discussed his preferred method of one-handed reloading, which doesn't involve placing the pistol between your knees, nor does it require placing the gun in a holster. He covered all common one-handed manipulations, even a tap rack immediate action. Out of all the instructors I've trained with, Mike places the most emphasis on one-handed drawing, shooting, and manipulations. I feel more instructors should do so because for civilians, there's a good chance they won't be able to cleanly draw or initially fire their weapon with both hands. This comes from my own experience in civilian force-enforced training scenarios and from watching videos of civilian shooting incidents. The class then moved on to a partner validation exercise. Here, a student sets up their partner's gun and dictates the course of fire, like in the unknown gun drill, but this time, the student who comes up with the course of fire can instruct their partner to use both hands, their strong hand or support side hand to draw, shoot, reload, and deal with any malfunctions. This was the first time I did this exercise, and I really enjoyed it as it allows you to put everything you've learned together. We then discussed moving and shooting. Mike talked about the different approaches that have been taught over the years, for example, only taking shots when both feet are planted on the ground or when one's lead foot is in the air. Mike explained how moving and shooting isn't rocket science. One should have a slight bend in their knees and walk as if they were sneaking up on someone, rolling their feet in a heel-to-toe fashion. As for when to press the trigger, Mike lets his sights lead his trigger as opposed to waiting for the right body position to fire. The class then moved on to 2 moving and shooting drills that allowed us to move and shoot in all directions. We did this individually and as a team with a partner. We then ended the day shooting the available steel targets on the range, working reps of what we covered and to have some fun. On day 2, we focused on concealed carry. Mike spent some time talking about the proper way to defeat different garment types to access one's pistol, and the different ways to draw one's pistol depending on their carry position. As I mentioned earlier, Mike would share simple yet important details throughout the class. For example, when drawing with one hand, it's important to pin one's garment along their body when defeating their garment and before reaching out for their pistol. Many people do this without thinking about it, but it is an important detail to teach to ensure one is drawing their weapon as efficiently and effectively as possible.
Be mindful when you come out of the holster, okay? When you come out, be mindful that your thumb is this way and not this way, because you can come out like this, okay? Your thumb should be along that pistol. So I come up, okay, pin the garment, back to it. As it comes out, my thumb is behind that pistol. At that point, it's mine.
After Mike's block of instruction, we got right back into drilling. We started with 50 draws freestyle, meaning with both hands, from concealment and 1 shot on steel, with 25 reloads using both hands. Then we moved on to 50 strong hand draws from concealment with 1 shot, with 25 reloads using only our strong hand. We moved on to 50 support hand draws from concealment with 1 shot, and 25 support hand reloads. Moving into the afternoon, we ran the unknown gun drill, the coyote and rabbit drill, and worked the steel targets again, this time from concealment. Students were able to get a ton of reps to help instill good form and execution. The day ended with Mike running the class through a timed speed draw exercise. Each student drew their weapon from concealment and took 1 shot at a steel plate. During the exercise, Mike explained how we need to be aware of our body's sympathetic response. When we try to increase trigger speed, we tend to tense all of our muscles and throw shots. We should remind ourselves that when it's time to shoot, as Mike mentioned, the only things moving should be our trigger finger and heart. He also warned students about point shooting. It's important to make sure you can see your sights with every shot.
If you're looking for a class to work on overt carry and concealed carry and to get a lot of repetitions to hone your skills, I recommend checking out Mike's class. You're going to get a lot of work done, and just when you think it's over, there's going to be a lot more work to do. There are no ninja secrets or magic techniques to getting good. It requires consistent, disciplined practice under a watchful eye, and Mike's class gives you this opportunity. What I like most about Mike's class is his approach to learning and training. He doesn't sugarcoat anything and tells you exactly the way it is. He doesn't hide the fact that you got to put in a lot of consistent work. You got to get out there and train. There's really no secrets, there's no shortcuts. And I like how he emphasizes that just by manipulating our weapons, we're learning. Every time we handle a weapon, we're learning, we're building confidence. And I really feel that's true. Regardless of your skill level, Mike has a wealth of knowledge and experience to share. You'll definitely learn something from him. So if he is in your neighborhood, I do recommend checking out his class. This is Miles from Tactical Hyve, signing off.